120 days since we had rain in quali in AT1. Will today be that day? From the skies at the moment? Probably not. But we await confirmation. TJ, I asked him beforehand, and it's not Manu God, it's Manu God. Evening patch, hashtag blessed. There's the link to our YouTube channel if you want to catch up with any of the races from our league. We also post races from previous seasons as well, so like I guess classic races if you want. And it's raining again. When is it raining, TD? Is it quali or is it race? There's someone out of the pits. It's Zidane Smithy. At the end of the race again. Exactly what we saw on Tuesday night. Started to rain. I can't remember which exact lap it was, but it was around lap 20, I want to say, out of 31. TD seems happy with that. Well, on Tuesday, TD had the perfect strategy. And he was the only one who did that perfect strategy straight away. So maybe TD can replicate that kind of strategy, which led to his second podium of the season. Evening snacks, hope you're well, mate. You want to die? Did your cardboard pizza not do it for you, TD? Having a relaxing holiday. I'm glad you're having a relaxing holiday. You're over in the UK, are you not, Snacks? He's upgraded countries. So, Smithy kicks us off in Q1. 16 here tonight, so full quali is the agenda. Two corners pretty well. Bit of lag going on. Pretty good turn 4. You might see some people trying to cut that corner. Of correcting. Make your own mind up. Too much inside curb, I would say there. Had to wait to get on the throttle through the old Singapore sling section. Over the very tricky bridge, pick your line and braking point into the hairpin. Out of that you get some DRS towards the third, which is all about the corners. Lots of left rights. And I've been kicked. Yay! Not again. Hopefully we don't have continuation of the problems that I've had before. Crito, 38.4, half a second quicker than Zidane at the moment. Crito's first race win in IRL was last week, or 2 weeks ago, in Miami. Congratulations, Crito. And puts himself vaguely in the hunt for the title at the moment. Deflated Wheat is leading the way. 12 points behind is Josh. So one good result for either of them could either cement their title challenge or bring them back into the fight. Fury, on the medium tyres, does a 38.8. That's pretty good. Same kind of pace as TD and Zidane on the soft compound. Page just runs a little bit wide there, but does not get invalidated. 1010 has done a banker lap on the hard compound, but I'm sure he can do better than that. Manu goes second fastest on his debut. Only half a tenth away from Carito, which is not too bad at all. As Page is really wrestling that car. Deploy of ERS has all been used for this lap, and Page goes quickest by 3/10. Wow. To be replaced by Asthma Frog. Fast and Furious start to the session. National Pool Championship, TJ. I'm jealous, mate. Oh, and Longson into the wall. Check on the damage. Might have to come back into the pits there and get a new front wing. It doesn't look like he's got too much damage, but obviously that will not be ideal for Longson. Still time in the session as Killian goes quickest on the medium tyres. Pretty good if you ask me. What about Slapbus then? Reserving here this evening. A little bit wide into the hairpin. Obviously, Singapore, as we know, is going to change potentially next game with the track adjustments. This whole third sector is pretty much going to be a heck of a lot different. The lap times will be quicker. I guess the race will be quicker as well, maybe. But potentially as much as 4 corners heading off the track for next calendar. Slapbus on the mediums does a 38.8. 1 second at the moment slower than Killian. 1010 will come to the line and improve his time, but I think with no ERS engaged, I think 1010 is just getting a few laps behind his back. Oh, and a slide well held there from 1010. Could have ended in tears. Oh, TJ, I'm not jealous anymore, mate. Longson, this one's invalid, so it won't count, and it'll have to go again. 8 minutes left of Q1. Bottom 1 driver will be heading out, so the last thing you want to do is crash out here, especially those in the bottom 5 without a time on the board. Just means that if that happens, the other 4 without a time can just go round very leisurely, get a time on the board, get a free pass into Q2. Longson will obviously need to improve that time. Otherwise, he might be heading out in this session. Someone nerf Killian. I think we've been saying that for a while now. But of course, it's not about... It's very rare you see someone's perfect lap in Q1. It's all about not being last in this session. Don't know whether to knock your tyres a little just to give TD some work. Wow, if there's a disclaimer coming, Chelsea, then maybe it's not worth saying. I may not be able to read it out on stream, Chelsea, if it's that bad. Felix on the mediums does a 38.7 as Josh. We're talking about Killian being nerfed. Josh on the mediums has gone 0.3 quicker than anyone so far. As Greg is on an outlap, or has backed off this time, recharged the battery and will go again. 1010 still out there on the hard compound tyres. Zidane improves to a 38.5. Smaller Smiley's first lap puts him exactly on the same lap time as Kirito. Smaller Smiley traversing the difficult conditions on Tuesday night to take what some would call an unlikely victory, but he was in the right place at the right time. The safety car did benefit him, but you got to drive the car, and Smaller Smiley drove the best race he could. And having kicked again, otherwise he might find himself out in Q1. If he gets quicker than 1010, then 1010 may be forced to switch onto a different set of tyres, or to actually put some ERS into it. And deflated wheel, there we go. A 36.9. 0.6 quicker than Josh on the mediums. And Longson on a pretty decent lap, 23 seconds up. That's what we'd love to see. Needs a good 10 to 12 seconds more if he wants to be comfortable in this session. Evening Novaturk, hope you're well. And what can Longson manage? This one is clean and valid, and it's third. Pretty good if you ask me. Puts obviously now 1010 into the drop zone. Not sure if 1010's intending to start near the back today, or if he's just getting some practice for the race. He'll be using his ERS. Yep, TJ certainly still has the hard tyres on the car. And there we go. ERS is enabled. 1010 is on now a push lap. Greg is back in the pits, so there'll be no more improvement for Greg. And TD is also into the pits, but with Greg in the pits, there is no way TD can be out of this session. So it's Greg versus 1010. Everyone else is safe. Hot lap incoming from 1010, yep. Very close to the exit of turn 5, getting invalidated there. And super close, pushing the track limits here. And he's done 7 laps on these hard tyres, so not only are they the slowest compound available, but they have some tyre wear on them. This needs to be a very good lap from 1010 if he wants to get out of Q1 here. Pretty good lap so far, but can he keep it going? Coming to the final corner. Swings it in there and gets invalidated. 41.3, so wouldn't have been good enough anyways. 1010's out. As to when exactly, we don't know. You'll have to find out with us. And a plethora of drivers on the medium compound in this session. The Deflated Wee leading the way on a 36.9. Josh Longson and Killian into the 37s, and then 38s from Asma Frog in 5th all the way down to TD in 14th. Only 0.7 of a second separating those 10 drivers. And then Greg at the moment in the 39s, 10-10 on race fuel and hard tyres. Not too much of a shock. He's out there. Doesn't help the UK's clocks went forward. Actually, that's a good point. Actually, has stream been okay? Xbox in telling me you're online. Yes, stream's all good. I've been kicked out of Q1 twice. If it happens again, we may have to do a quick restart of the stream, but hopefully we don't get to that point. So still no rain in quali expected. 120 days since the last time we had a rainy AT1 quali session. Everywhere the clock's went for. I actually don't know. I may seem really stupid by not knowing, but I don't know. I don't really tend to follow other countries when I'm living in this one. Slap bus out on track and going pretty quick. Decides to cut that corner there before the bridge. 120, 120 days since we had rain in AT1 quali session. Yeah, me neither, TJ. I've no idea. Everyone out on track, all 15. You can see in Sector 2 it's very congested there. A few corners spanned 5 or 6 cars. But Slapbus, first out on track, first to set a time, and does a 37.4. So still about half a second off what we managed in Q1. What can Felix manage? .37.9, so half a second off of Slapbus. As Killian goes quickest on 37.0. TD has backed off and is letting people through like a nice little boy. Kirito, 38.3, more of a banker lap. We know we can do quicker than that potentially. Zasma Frog does a 37.9, goes up into P3. Manu does a 38.2 and goes 5th. Smaller Smiley did very well on Tuesday, does a 38.3 this time around. As Greg has done a 39.9 and is currently P9. Longson and TD have done banker laps. And Zidane, after that invalidation, is back into the pits. So let's have a look at TD and Longson. We can only assume are on better attempts this time around. TD had an absolute banging lap. Mate, 2 minutes 21. I'll be lucky to get 2 minute 21 on Sunday night. No way are you in the Caribbean. Man, that's such a sounds like such a fun place to live. I'd be out on the beach every day that I'm not working. TD a whopping 34 seconds up through the middle sector. Love to see it. Can he keep it clean? TD's first league race tonight without racing line on in AT1. Did really well on Tuesday, had a great strategy, onto the podium for the second time this season. And across the line he does a 38.3, so that's now 3 drivers within half a tenth. But Longson chucks it into the final corner, really does well not to get invalid, and does another 1 minute 37 lap time, puts him up into the top 6 now, as Josh mimics deflated weave from Q1, goes into the 36s, and that will probably see him through into Q3. Carito starts a new lap. Most of the drivers in the pits. Manu has retired from the session in the pits as well. So 9th is the best he can hope for this evening in quali. And if he does get through into the top 10, he will be able to make a lap time in Q3. Probably going to be wet Q3. Okay, maybe I'll have to eat my words. About 120 days since the last time we had a wet quali in 81. Have to wait and see, of course. And if there is rain towards the end of Q3, it will be who can get out on track the quickest, make the most of those dry track conditions, and get the best lap time on the board. Might be a very frantic start to Q3. Yes, I'm very well, thank you, Hyper. Not feeling amazing. I've got some kind of bug. But I'm all good, apart from that. Is it going to rain in the race, though? I believe so. I believe it's going to rain towards the end of the race, Aya. And I believe you can pick a setup before the race, so I guess potentially you got a bit of an advantage there. Red Bull is absolutely flying. Well, Carito looks a good lap. It's a 37.8, so P6 for Carito, and puts himself at the front of that cluster on a high 37. Obviously, if all those on a 37.9 improve, Carito will drop to 9th. So it may not be 100% safe from Carito there. Asthma Frog, as we said, has just improved to a 37.7. It's a good lap from him. Fury on an out lap then. Switches on the ERS to go for another lap. Let's check in with some of these guys down the bottom end. Greg up on his time but invalid, so we'll have to go again, and Padge has also invalidated through the first sector, so he'll have to switch off the ERS. He can charge it for one final run. TD though, currently the only one on a flying lap that's valid so far. I decided to go on hard tyres with race fuel for Q1. Set a magnificent 1 minute 41.3, but invalid. It was an absolutely fantastic qualifying from 10-10. Oh. Just oh. TD then coming to the end of his lap time. Still 2 minutes 20 left on the clock. Plenty of time for people to come out of the pits for another run. Manu has been dropped to 10th as and now has been pushed out of quali. As TD has now gone 7th, ahead of Carito. Pretty good lap there from TD on his first no-line race in 81, as Fury goes fastest, and that's the fastest time we've seen tonight by a big chunk of time. Where on earth has that come from? Fury feeling furious tonight. Putting the Fury in Fast and Furious, perhaps. I know that was an awful joke, don't really care. Slate me all you want in the chat. I'm ready for you. Padge then keeps his Sector 1 clean, unlike his previous attempt, and 2/10 to the good. Current time to beat is Longson's 37.9, so Padge needs around about 9/10 to a second if he wants to get through. I know the joke was terrible. I don't care. Fair enough, 10-10, you know. Kind of understands maybe something in your race that you want to improve, so yeah, I respect that. Padge 6/10 to the good through Sector 2. Needs a few more tenths in this final sector. If he can get onto a 37.7, might find himself into Q3 without too many problems. It's very congested there between Asthma Frog and Longson in 11th, who has just been pushed down as someone has improved. Smaller Smiley perhaps has improved to a 37.8, as Padge can only manage a 38.0, and that will see him out of quali with not enough ERS to play with. Zidane starting a new lap, getting invalidated, and he'll start 14th on the grid at best. Carito has finished the session in 10th and is the time to beat, so could be looking over his shoulder at maybe Longson to improve, and Greg as well. Manu has been pushed down to 13th as things stand. Zidane with that invalidation will start 14th, but Greg, if he can get some good improvements here, might find himself a little bit higher up on the grid. Everyone in the top 7 is all good as things stand. So far, the only one threatening to improve is Greg. Which means that smaller Smiley should be safe. Carito could be in danger. Longson has finished his quali in 11th. It is so close. And rain is starting to fall. For the first time in 120 days since the end of last season, we have rain in quali in AT1. Don't think it will affect Greg's lap time too much at this point. Only drops, dribs and drabs. And it is an improvement, but unfortunately still 3/10 behind Zidane. Greg will start in 15th on the grids. And as Felix comes into the pits, that will end our session. Carito escapes the drop by 1/10 and 1 milliseconds. There's plenty of drivers capable of giving you a run for your money. Fury, though, maybe the one running the dry setup. As the rain starts to fall at the end of Q2, Fury finds himself 4/10 to the good on the rest of the pack. 2/10 separate Josh, Killian and we. Slapbus, as it stands, currently heading up this very tight midway, consisting of Asma, TD, Felix, Smolder and Carito, but Longson, Padge, Manu, Zidane and Greg heading out in Q2. A title fight with 6 drivers in it, but there are certainly some very capable people on Sunday nights. Nice little segue for Sunday night. Is this Tier 2 racing here at Singapore? Will we see more rain? Or will it be fully dry? We're due a fully dry race in 82. I think 3 of the last 5 races have been rain infested. And there's a big old train in Sector 2. Look at how many people are on that back straight at the same time. They're all racing rounds on their outlap to try and get the best conditions for their flying lap. Slapbus obviously has track in front of him, so he's possibly in the best position. Those behind Might get some dirty air from running so close to the car in front, but they also may get a slipstream down some of those straights. Remains to be seen, but who is going to come on top in this tumultuous quali session to finish off 81? And in the background we got Felix in the Alfa Romeo spinning at the final corner. That's not only going to ruin this lap, but he's going to have to drive all the way round to go for another run, and by that point the rain may be too heavy. And Felix just getting back up to speed now. Never rains, but it pours in Singapore. Who is getting their lap time on point? It doesn't look like the rain is sticking too much at the moment. So for those on flying laps right now, it may not be doom and gloom. But obviously, you still have to get a perfect lap in, or as good as a lap as you can. This lap bus went purple but then disappeared, so that makes me think that the Alpine driver behind, which could be Killian, has gone quicker, and definitely that Alpine is closer to the Aston Martin than on their outlap. Slap bus. Good enough for 5th in Q2. Sets things off with a 1:39.5. Killian does a 38.8. So obviously this rain is sticking, as they were doing 36s in Q2. Deflated weave, fastest so far, as Josh comes across the line and goes 3rd. What about Fury? He topped the timing screens in Q2, but only managing 6th this time around. Smaller Smiley, winner on Tuesday night, goes 7th, as we have Asthma Frog next up for a lap time. Deflated Week currently on provisional pole, and with the rain continuing to fall, is that the best lap time that everyone can manage? Felix will go again after that spin at the final corner to start his flying lap. So we'll stay on board with Felix, but for everyone else that may be the best time they can manage. 3 in the 1:38. So we, Killian and Josh, no surprises, but the top 3 in the standings are the top 3 in quali right now. Slap bus inching Carito, who won last week, 2 weeks ago in Miami. Fury into the 1:39s. Then we got Smaller Smiley and Asthma Frog, currently an all Mercedes row 4. Rain getting slightly heavier, and we'll see Felix's Sector 2 split towards the end of this straight. Everyone coming back into the pits. Felix 10 seconds up. That's good enough for a 1:42.7 at the moment. So still needs a bit of time in this final sector. Asthma Frog has retired from Q3, thinking that this rain is only going to get worse and no improvement is going to be possible. This could be Deflated Wheeze, pole position. After just a few minutes of the session, Felix comes across the line to do a 1:40.8. That's a pretty good lap in these conditions, ahead of TD by a few tenths, but still only good enough for 9th as things stand. Everyone else in the pits. Carito putting on a set of the intermediate tyres, possibly just to see what the delta's like. Say that all you want, Novatech. He's not going to go faster. What's a dramatic Q3? Certainly. Is that a third 81 pole in a row? It might be. I will just check for you. Deflated Wee got pole in Miami 2 weeks ago before our week break, and in China also got pole. Imola, Josh got pole, so potentially this could be 3 poles in a row here for Deflated Wee in 81, who amazingly is on a 45 race point scoring streak in Assist Tier 1. Deflated Wee, someone needs to take him out, honestly. He needs to be either taken out or nerfed or maybe shot in the foot. I wouldn't actually make any difference because he's on pad. Someone shoot him in the hands instead. No, please. Killian, not improving at the moment. So much surprise going on. But we'll have a bit of a see kind of lap time he can produce. I think Mupper should get cancelled for being too fast. Killian into the pits, and 1 minute 38 is what he managed at the final corner. That just shows how much the rain is affecting the track. Someone has just joined. If you have just joined, please leave. This is a league race, and unfortunately you are not in our league. If you would like to be, let us know in this Twitch chat. Maybe someone can give him a quick message, maybe TD, to run away with this championship. But of course, there are no points in quali. Fury retired on track, which is completely legal. The only one left on track. I like Reigns, says Novatech. Me too, mate. That's weird. That's my frog. Best lap time is a DNF. Then there must be a glitch. Deflated Wee, third pole in a row. Now the leading pole position holder in 81 this season. Wee and Josh, we're tied on 3 now. Wee has pulled away on 4 pole positions. Killian second on the front row of the grid. Josh and Slapbass on row 2. Row 3 is Carito and Fury. Smiley and Asma make up an all Mercedes row 4, and Felix and TD make up the 5th row of the grid in the top 10. But our featured driver, who is going to be Asma Frog, qualified 8 this evening. Featured driver, in case you're new around here or not too sure what that means, we send out a featured driver form to all the drivers that race, and they can tell us a bit about themselves. Helps us to understand what they're like as a person, not just a gamer tag on a screen. So Asma Frog is 37 years of age, from the Highlands in Scotland. Currently working as an assistant manager, and his hobbies and interests include Formula 1, football, and Forex trading. He races on the wheel, specifically a Logitech G923, and his favourite driver is Sebastian Vettel. His favourite track is Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, and we will be visiting Saudi Arabia in round 15 on the first week of May. As for his racing strengths, he says, I'm good at clean driving, that is no time penalties and no incidents, and also tyre management. His goals for Season 4 is to look to improve from last season, and when asked who he considers a rival in our league, he says Padge. Are those interviews still a thing? What do you mean? And I promise you that is the last time I'm saying ass monkey tonight. We on the front row with his 3rd pole in a row. 4th this season. Killian alongside in the front row, and Josh in the championship fight has had not a poor start, but certainly Carito's had a flyer, and Killian's just taken it easy into turn 1, lost out to Josh. Carito up to 2nd place already, as they're all going roughly single file, all side by side through the opening couple of corners, and they're all through without any problems whatsoever. Great starts from Aya, up 4 places. Zidane and Tenten up 2. As we've got TD now battling Asma Frog for a spot in the top 8. And Aya just swings around the outside, and chaos in the background as Aya seems to have contact with someone. Possibly Longston. I'm not too sure what happened there. Greg's had a bit of an issue, and a bit of an odd line into the corner, gets overtaken a couple of times. And there we go, tyre strats. Everyone, oh, as Longston spins. Everyone on the hard compound tyres, with the exception of Fury up there in P5 and Kirito up there in P2. That would explain his good start off the line. Deflated leads the way though at the opening lap of this Grand Prix. 31 long laps in this race. Deflated Wee kicks us off with the fastest lap of the race. Had a nosebleed being that high up. Currently, all the channel points are being on deflated. So you're either going to lose points or win them. Carito escaping his teammate slightly. Josh 1.2 back. Killian in DRS range as well as Fury, but no DRS until lap 3, as we all know. Felix up there in P6, smaller Smiley, winner on Tuesday, currently 7th place, and TD up from 10th off the grid, up into P8 now. Has company a bit behind with Zidane and Tenten, who's had a really good start from 16th or 15th on the grid, or 14th on the grid maybe. Sensible start from everyone. A couple of issues here and there. Longston had a bit of a spin. I made contact with someone earlier on at the exit of turn 5. I'm not too sure who exactly it was. It's Deflated Wheat attempts to get Carito out of the DRS range, but on this hard tyres, almost impossible at this stage in the race. Fury sets in the fastest lap of the race. Medium tyres, has some good momentum behind him. Needs to make the most of those better compounds. Try and get past Killian and Josh. Of course, as we know, that is no easy feat. Josh, after DNFing at the opening round at Baku with a horrible glitch, has been on the podium every single race for the last 8 races this season. Consistency blowing our minds. But Deflated Wee is the one who has finished every race in the points this season. As Killian hits the wall! And does Killian have damage? I think I saw a bit of bodywork fly off. Maybe his end plate's gone. That will be roughly yellow or orange wing damage for Killian. And you can see there as the car goes past that he is indeed missing his left end plate. And he's already lost 2 seconds on Fury, getting overtaken by Felix Killian, that mistake has cost him so much. Oh, and locking up is Killian. That has upset the balance of the car. And this is the worst possible start for Killian from Scotland. Killian, you'd think, has to pit now. And he does. New wing in order. I imagine he'll be onto the medium compound for his second stint. Out in front, Carito within DRS range, but not quite close enough to challenge. Maybe Carito is just trying to run down Deflated Wee's ERS storage, but you can see Carito's red light flashing already at the back of the car. That means he's on 10% of ERS or less. So Carito here is actually pushing, but Deflated Wee is doing remarkably well to stay comfortably ahead on those hard tyres. Josh finding his rhythm now, starting to close that gap to his teammate. Fury within distance of DRS, but not within a move. Felix has smaller Smiley for company in the battle for 5th. And TD defending hard from 1010 and Zidane. 1010 making that move on Zidane in the last couple of laps. 1010 said he wanted to start at the back of this race to get better at overtaking and following other drivers. This is going to be a big test. TD, no slouch. Oh, and 10-10. Too much on the curb at turn 2, and that's what happens sometimes. Only lost the place to Zidane, and still within DRS range. It's not the end of the world, but that would have set him back slightly. Might potentially have dented the confidence in trying to follow and overtake people. But he does get that move down at the inside. Down into turn 7. Hell of a save from 10-10. Couldn't agree more. Seen so many times drivers go off at that point. Josh now closing on his teammate. Carito has dropped out of DRS range of Wee. That means now Carito is the one who is going to have to defend a lot. If Carito needs to close in on Wee into at least DRS range just to help him out, otherwise he may turn into a bit of a sitting duck here. And Carito spun at the final corner. I'm too busy reading chat and figuring out my response to TJ's question, but Carito, he spun at the final corner, and it's not the first time we've seen someone spin that. Potentially not the last either. Such a shame. It was a brilliant start for Carito. And here comes Fury now. Makes that move down the inside of turn 6. And by turn 7, Fury now, does he have the pace to catch Wee? Josh is hoping he does, so that he can get towed back into the fight for the win. Carito in 6th place after that spin. Felix and Smaller now up into the top 4 and 5 respectively. This is a great drive from Felix so far. 10-10 is past TD up into P7. has a 4-second gap if he wants to catch Carito. Smaller Smiley. This battle may continue between Smaller and Felix for the rest of this Grand Prix. How do you spin in that corner with CC? It's a brutal corner. Your setups, most setups around Singapore will have a high front roll bar, which means you're really good at responding. The car's good at responding when turning in, but on prolonged corners, such as the last corner, the back end is able to step out. And that's why potentially you see so many spins at that final turn. Fury is on the hunt. 7 tenths he's closed on deflated wheat in the last lap since getting past Josh. This is music for Josh's ears. He just needs to stay within DRS range of that Ferrari, let the Ferrari do the work and close in that gap, and then potentially Josh can go for a bit of an undercut on deflated. Also, good point, Adrian. Curbs on this game can be pretty reckless. How are we doing? TD. Drop back a little from 10-10 as Zidane, Aya, Greg and Padge for company in the battle for 8th. Still, this battle for 4th intensifying. Getting closer and closer. Check in with this battle for 8th. TD leading the way. No tyre advantage for any of these drivers over the others. Level playing field. Obviously, some drivers may be suffering in the dry in the hope that the rain falls as soon as possible. Obviously, those near the front might be running more of a dry setup. Smaller Smiley really close through turn 5, and here we go. We said this could be happening. Down the inside of turn 7, and Smaller Smiley makes that move down, but here comes Carito now. Down the inside of Felix, sniffing an opportunity. Senses that Felix might be vulnerable just after being overtaken, but Felix, good defense there. Stays in the top 5. If I was Carito here, I wouldn't worry too much about his tyres. I would worry about that ERS storage. You can see he was flashing, now not, so he is trying to save some. But again, down those straights, it automatically uses your ERS on medium. Do you know Carito? How so? Get the feeling you know him. Yeah, there we go. That would explain things. TD doing well at the moment to defend from some very capable drivers. Asthma Frog at the back of the train now in the Mercedes has caught up and makes this now a 6-way fight for P8. 3 of these drivers, as it stands, will get points. 3 of them won't. So now perhaps this could be a good opportunity. DRS open. TD. Good straight line speed. Good defense. And Zidane struggling on ERS management at the moment. Less than 10% as that red light starts to flash. Asthma Frog all over the back of Padge like a horrendous Singaporean rash. And looks to be very eager to get past that Haas car. Out in front, that gap has stabilised. Wheat and Fury, 1.1, 1.2 seconds. Josh still within DRS range and is just playing the long game here. Waiting for those medium tyres to go off perhaps and then make a move, try and close that gap to Wee. Smaller Smiley has passed Felix and started to pull away. 8 seconds now off of that top 3. Fury is now in DRS range of deflated. Still on with this battle. Not too much changing. Bit of a DRS train forming. Needs one of these 6 to make a mistake in order for an overtake, he would seem. Zidane certainly seems a lot closer in the corners. TD seems to get away slightly on the straights. We'll see now, Zidane 4 tenths behind. DRS open and not close enough, so it seems like TD has got less wings, more straight line speed than Zidane in the Aston Martin. You see just the way they took turn 8 there, that Zidane is a little bit more confident through those turns. I think this race could get interesting later on in the race. I could not agree more. It's poised rather beautifully. 10-10, meanwhile, has been putting the hammer down. Maybe in an alternate universe, he's a hammer thrower. Asma Frog, we said it took a mistake for that group to change. Well, Aya has dropped places after a spin, and further back, Asma has spun at the hairpin. And Aya needs to reverse to avoid getting wing damage. Gaps now forming. Asma has dropped back from Padge. Padge has got past Greg. And obviously with Aya in the middle of Padge and Zidane, there is now a gap in the DRS. And a fight for the lead. Hotting up. Flataway on the outside of turn 8. Oh, it does well not to make contact. Really good defending from Wee. Fury did get past into turn 7. But this is one of Wee's battlegrounds. Loves this track, does deflated. And maybe all that excitement, a little bit of Wee has come out. Just remembering now that other commentator with the nice mic, where is he? I don't know. I don't know who you mean, actually. Especially in the midfield, I can't ride tonight. And it could be exactly like this on Sunday, Johnny B. Smaller Smiley, 9 seconds away from this trio. This trio are definitely leading the hunt for the podium. Only potentially a mistake, a huge mistake, or a big safety car incident could stop these 3 from finishing on the podium tonight. On board with Fury. Obviously, around this point in the race, those mediums are going to start to drop off. Those hard tyres are going to be the better tyre to be on. So can Fury make the move whilst he has that slight advantage? Wait, you can see positioning his car rather beautifully. Some would say perfectly. Allowing no option to go either down the inside or outside. I think it was Snacks, if I remember correctly. He was having some technical issues that night. El Halso Snacks was talking about someone who had a nice mic on commentary, but I'm not too sure who that was. Can't see you doing well on this track on Sunday, Johnny B. Well, you never know. The winner on Tuesday wasn't the fastest driver out there, it was the person who made no mistakes and was there in the right place at the right time. I can't see, and this isn't going to be a commentator's curse, but I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out to be one. I wouldn't be surprised if this three were not like this as they cross the line to finish the race. I think something's going to happen, and one of these three, if not two of these three, there's something going to happen between these three, basically. I'm not too sure what, but we just got a gut feeling. Will the heavens open this race? We are expecting rain towards the latter end of this race. We don't know when, but we are expecting rain. And here comes Fury, deflated, parking his car in the middle of the track, leaving space on the outside for Fury. Fury now has the inside for turn 8. He brakes as late as he can to try and squeeze Wee off the track and into second, but Wee slams on the ERS and gets back past into turn 9. Shades of Austria 2 seasons back, where in the sprint race Wiggles was just stuck in 3rd place behind 1st and 2nd while they were battling. Seems like Josh has no option here but to save the ERS and just to stay within touching distance here. No such thing as a commentator's curse, exactly, mate. Felix damage. Let's have a look. Not that we can see. Just potentially had a bit of a slower lap than Smaller. Smaller is actually gaining on the top 3. His pace has been really good on these hard compound tyres. The gap was around 9 and a bit seconds. The gap is now down to 8. Carito spinning again. Second time tonight for Carito. Those mediums maybe just running out of grip. Oh! And Zidane looks like he's hit TD into turn 2. I didn't see enough of it, but certainly from the angle we had, it did certainly look like Zidane has hit TD just the tiniest of nudges into turn 3. And TD, I imagine, will be furious with that. What do you mean commentator's curse? I didn't mention Carito or TD there. Fury's doing fab on those mediums, he certainly is. Sometimes just being in that DRS train actually helps. However, Josh and Wee will no doubtedly be onto the medium tyres for their second stint, assuming the rain is nowhere near falling. It's not a commentator's curse if I didn't say anything. You know what? Seeing as Snacks believes in the commentator's curse is his fault. There you go. If you're watching this, TD, it's Snacks' fault. Spectator's curse. That's just ridiculous. What on earth is a spectator's curse? Everyone could blame Snacks. Carito pits again. Not again, sorry. That was Killian who pitted the first time. And now TD, who was defending from Zidane and Padge, now defending from Greg, Longson and Killian, who, after hitting the wall into the old Singapore sling corner, had to pit for a new front wing and a new set of tyres. Signs that those mediums are going off for Fury. 1.2 now, out of DRS range as Killian looks to get past Longson at the most earliest opportunity. Oh, Greg losing traction on the bridge and bits of bodywork flying off. He'll need to box. Now Longson seems a little bit helpless behind Killian. Doesn't fight it. Seems like a bit of a sensible move there from Longson. Killian on the mediums. Make a poll who's going to spin next. Gosh, I don't have 15 slots on the poll. I only have 5. Wow, thanks TJ. After all we've been through this evening. Clear, TJ never made it as a wise man. So 1.2 out in front. We are already at half race distance. Just seems like a few minutes ago we were in the opening laps. As Aya with the first time penalty on lap 16. That's pretty good going. Greg pits, obviously with that wing damage. He'll be on to a set of the mediums, no doubt. If the rain falls, then we may see some inters later on. But we're definitely expecting rain, which leads me to think that when it starts to rain, it is going to absolutely Singapore down. Race on board with Fury and Josh. You got it, mate. Do you want Josh or Fury's POV? Oh, that's a bit of a that's a bit of an anticlimax. You redeem 4,000 channel points for Fury to pit. You know what? I'll refund you. I'll refund you that. That is too funny. Oh, chat, that could not go any better. There you go, you should have your points back, Snacks. Spend them again. I have to say that's the best thing that's happened this season. Out on track. What do you want Spectator's Curse to say? A command is exclamation mark, whatever you want, and then you have to put something that it says after that. So you got to let me know what command you want me to add. You could have exclamation mark curse, or that might be a good one. Spectator Curse is the new commentator's curse. I like it. I'll get that done for you. Maybe if there's a safety car, I'll get it done in the race. 10-10, really gaining here. Felix has had some kind of issue. He was behind smaller, now 5 seconds back, so kind of missed something that's happened with Felix's Grand Prix in the last few laps while we're talking about curses. I love that command. Every time it makes me laugh. There's no other command that makes me laugh like that one, Snacks. But turn 10 really gaining here. After Fury is pitted, he is now 6th place and has plenty of open track to make the most of those new medium compounds. Carito is in a battle with Longsome right now. And making that move down the outside of turn 5. Nicely done. At turn 7 even. And Carito could be on to challenge TD for a spot in the top 10. Question is, chat, when is the rain coming? Because we were promised rain, and if we don't get any rain, we riot. We and Josh now separated by only 1.1. Josh is starting to gain, albeit very minimally. As Carito looks for a very bold move on TD down into the Anderson Bridge. Lap 19 of 31. Our leaders are in sector 2. 1 second now covers the top 2. Smaller Smiley on for a potential podium, but after pit stops, Fury will probably be leading this race with that kind of technical undercut on those medium tyres at the moment. So the onus will be on Wee and Josh in the second half of this race to make the move on Fury. It's Carito. Brakes as late as he possibly can. Side by side with TD. Carito has the inside. TD just backed off there. And Carito up into the top 10. Padge, meanwhile, has been overtaken by Killian. Padge still within DRS range here. Josh is now really starting to close maybe all that ERS he spent following Fury and Wee. He is now putting into action. My prediction is no rain, says our house, though. We are expecting some. It would be very strange if we didn't have any. Snacks, I think it's lap 28. Adrian, lap 26. TJ, lap 24. All interesting predictions. My theory is when the rain falls, if it falls, it's going to stick really quickly. That's what we saw on Tuesday night, and I would not be surprised if that happened again. Aya, the only person with time penalties after 20 laps. This is impressive stuff from the 81 bunch tonight. That's my frog trying to hunt him down. Check in with the leaders. This is around the point where we're going to start to see some pit stops from those hard tyre runners. But are people staying out on those hards with the expectation of rain? Comes Asthma Frog. DRS working well for Frog. You can see firsthand who is struggling more. And the rain. Just seen it start to fall. Lap 21. We thought it was imminent. It was closer than we thought. Rain is falling in Singapore. There we go. Smaller Smiley third, 10-10. quite in DRS range, but doing well. Who started at the back of the field. That's not a command, I'll say. Fury making his way past Felix into P5. This then calls into question Fury's strategy. DRS is disabled immediately. And it's time for Inters. Greg, will he pit? Will he pit? Will he box? My theory was right. When the rain came, it stuck on the track. Teleported. Was that Felix? So Greg into the pits, no doubt. Lee for a set of intermediate tyres. We'll have to see TD's progress because it was very strange. If you saw the Miami Grand Prix for AT2, DRS was disabled with a few laps left, but the track was never quick enough that Inters was the best tyre. It was very strange, but certainly as things going, TD is gaining on Longson, gained by about half a second, maybe almost a second this lap. And 10-10 has done a Wiggles. He's locked up, going into the pits, and because there's a driver behind boxing, he's been disqualified. I do not believe this game. How on earth can a game be coded that badly? And all of our hearts go out to 10-10 for that. Definitely was a very strong drive from 10-10. Deserved better than that. But we've seen it before, and last season it happened exactly as that happened to Mr. Wiggles. In fact, he was disqualified for overtaking the safety car coming into the pit, so I guess it's a bit different, but we've seen that kind of stuff before, and it is such a shame. Kirito now boxing, and as he comes out of the pits, crosses the white line and gets a 5-second penalty. Longson, meanwhile, is onto the full wet compound. So we'll have to keep an eye on his delta and see if those wet tyres are working. Yes, TJ, they are. What a lovely game. I could not agree more. This game is, let's be honest, trash. It's bin worthy. We and Josh, nothing to separate them. Pit stops have not altered their interval at all. 1.2 is the gap, and this will come down to who's got a more appropriate wet setup on the car. Obviously, the difference between dry and wet in Singapore is not going to be too different. Expecting high wings in the dry anyway. But this is where confidence, this is where traction with your tyre pressures, this is where differential comes into play, and your suspension as well. Big fight with, once again, with TD. Kirito and Killian, who started the race fourth and second, are now 8th and 9th, respectively, behind TD, who once again is holding his own in his second league race without racing line on. Red lights flashing, that's not to do with the ERS, that's just to do with it raining. Helps the drivers to see the car ahead with the spray. Kirito looking confident, and quick. But that move, not able to be done at that point. Kurito getting so close to the back of TD. Killian just lying in wait here. Obviously, in wet weather conditions, it's easier to save ERS. The last thing you want to do is blow it all on one battle and then find yourself really vulnerable from the car behind. So Kurito needs to make sure he doesn't blow all of his ERS storage, with Killian so close to the back of him. Longson on those full wet tyres is losing time at the moment, so the rain is not quite heavy enough. Kurito, time penalty. And also TD. A few seconds ago. Killian now around the outside of Kurito into turn 7. Side by side in these wet conditions. Killian no space except off the track to go. A little bit of wheel contact. Oh, and possibly a nudge of the wall for Kurito. Killian looks to get that move done and squeeze him slightly. And in the end, Killian does make that move. And people boxing for full wet tyres. Asthma Frog into the pits. Greg also boxing for full wet tyres. Out in front, that gap is 1 second. And as I'm sure you've realised by now, Fury's tyre strategy has backfired slightly. And Longson has decided to retire in the pits. So no safety car expected. Fury now was in the hunt for a possible race win. Now he's 20 seconds off of the leaders. That's how much his tyre strategy has backfired here. Smaller could be on for back-to-back podiums for the first time in his IRL career. As into the pits come both Alpine cars. And Killian here is going to be held up humongously. 3 or 4 seconds he's going to lose by double stacking. And I imagine it's going to be full wet tyres. Go on board then with Josh and see how he's tackling these conditions. Well, if this is the crossover lap between inters and wet tyres, then it's better to be on the wet tyres. You could easily gain back those 3 seconds just by being on the correct tyre. Have to keep an eye with TD's delta behind Padge, currently 14.3 seconds. Those wet tyres may take a lap or so to rein in and just get some consistency on them. As things stand, he's not losing time to Padge. Killian entered the pits 4 tenths behind his teammate, now 6.2 behind after that pit stop, so really quite costly for Killian. Josh is very close to the back of Wee, but it's very difficult to overtake another potential spectator's curse there as we went on board with Fury, who gets a 3-second pen. I'm sure Snacks will be happy to use his new command. Here comes Fury. Oh, I love a good overtake. That could be one of the best overtakes we see this whole season. Round the outside of that corner on this track, in these conditions, on those tyres. That's phenomenal. Hats off Fury. Big claps in chat. That is a move anyone would be proud of. However, Fury, with the 3-second time penalty, will need to get a gap on Smaller, which he is starting to work towards now. Felix, in the meantime, is starting to close on Smaller. Clipped and posted, legend. Certainly that overtake was very delicious to watch. And Smaller Smiley, it seems, struggling somewhat. Maybe the rhythm just isn't there. Maybe the pit stop has thrown him off. I know for me, sometimes when you make a pit stop, it ruins your flow, but I think Smaller's just ready for the full wet tyres. Maybe those inters just not quite working for him at the moment. Let's not forget this top 9, with the exception of Smiley, have not pitted for full wet tyres. TD 15.7 behind Padge, so not really homing in like maybe we thought he would. And if this rain thins out, there's potential that these inter tyres could well be the tyre to be on. Lap 27, nothing still to separate these top 2. It has been a fascinating race. Mistakes around every corner. Slight mistake there from Josh, just got a bit of a snap of oversteer. And it's getting to the point now where if Josh doesn't get within 6 or 7 tenths, he might not have the capability to win this race and beat Deflated. Deflated at the moment seems to be a lot more comfortable. Bit of a snap from Josh. And that's another 4 tenths lost in a corner. And Josh is going for a gamble here. He's got a free pit stop behind to Fury. But with him putting on the full wets, he needs to hope that either we pits next lap, or if we stays out, he loses an awful lot of time on those inters. So this is a very interesting strategic call here. If I was we, I'd probably be tempted to stay out. TD 12.7 behind, so he's gained 3 seconds this lap, and Fury within range of taking second. However, with that time penalty, Josh, I imagine, will just be closing in, and it is really wet weather tyre from here on in. That overtake is disgusting, it really is. So the question is, chat, what should Deflated do? It's clear that the wet weather tyre is better right now, but Deflated Wii has 25 seconds in hand. If it were me, I'd be tempted to stay out. I know the wet tyre is quicker, but can Josh really gain 25 seconds in 3 laps? That is the question. He's already taken a 1.5 seconds out of him on this opening lap. The first half of this lap. At this rate, it's not enough. He needs at least... He needs about 7 seconds a lap. He's only gained about 2 so far. I agree with you, chat. Stay out. Carito staying out has a 17-second advantage on Zidane, as everyone is now in. Fury obviously staying out, but he's got a 20-second advantage to Smaller Smiley. Smaller will still have a whiff of a podium here. Fury's 3-second time penalty, let's not forget about. Aya Span, thank you for that information. Aya down there in 10th with the time penalty of 3 seconds. Padge might find himself able to nick a point as Josh comes across the line. That gap has now reduced to 17 seconds. He's gained 8 seconds that last lap. It's possible, chat. It really is. Lap 29, 3 laps to go. And he's only 15 seconds back. Either Wii has had a big issue somewhere, or this track is getting worse and worse. As you can see by the rain, it is absolutely torrential. Deflated has 3 laps. He can't pit now. He's going to come out behind Josh and Fury. The race win would be gone. So Deflated Wii has made his strategic choice, and we will find out if it's going to work. I said earlier on, Smaller and Felix, they could be battling for the rest of this race. Well, they still are. Felix is gaining. And the move which saw Smaller Smiley past Felix in the earlier stages of this race, back when the track was all clean and dry, now could be going the other way. Felix hunting down that Mercedes for 4th. And ordinarily, right now, I'd put up a poll for Driver of the Day, but I'm not going to do it just yet, because Josh, it seems, is closing in at a rate of knots on our race leader, Deflated. Deflated needs to hope that this rain subsides dramatically right now. Otherwise, he is going to lose the race win here. Zidane could get Carito as well, very true. Both of them with time penalties. Let's put that on the screen now. Carito, well, 8 seconds already. Carito crossing the white line on the exit to the pits, remember. He got a 5-second for that. So already Zidane due to jump Carito. If Carito isn't too cautious, might lose 7th to Killian. And here we go. As Greg gets out of the way very kindly. This is the battle. And I have to say, I was not expecting this battle on lap 30. I was expecting it on the last lap of the race. Those tyres are trashed. You can see there's hardly any grooves in those inters. There goes Josh round the outside. That would be an overtake and a half, but the traction uncontested. It was a bold strategy call from Wii. I thought it was the better one. And he goes wide. And he controls a spin into the wall slightly. But in the end, the drivers knew better than me. Josh leads this race. He was sat behind Wii, struggling. Wii just needs to make sure he doesn't crash out now. Greg is free to unlap himself if he feels faster, which I'm sure he's planning to do. As Felix now past Fury for 3rd. And there around the outside goes Smaller. Good move. And Felix made it past Smaller in the last few moments while we were watching Josh and Wii. The leaders starting their final lap. I wonder how close Felix could get to deflated. I doubt he'll gain 20 seconds this lap, but certainly that gap will be monumental. Type your driver of the day in the chat. I haven't quite got enough time to get a poll out right now. There's still too much action going out on track. But Josh has made the right strategy call. And due to that strategy call, he's going to win this race by close to 20 seconds in the end. After sitting behind Wee and Fury battle for laps upon laps, Josh played the patient game. He waited for the rain. He boxed onto the right tyres on 2 separate occasions. And in the end is going to win this by a country mile. Smaller still trying to get within overtaking distance of Felix for the podium. TJ. TJ, if we're both in 82 next season, I hope we're teammates. Killian passed Carito, who's still struggling on those intermediate tyres. But really, it has been about one man. In the end, it was a perfect strategy call that won on Tuesday night, and it's a perfect strategy call for Thursday night. Josh takes the win by over 19 seconds, where Josh was 25 seconds off the lead 4 laps ago. What an absolutely brilliant strategy call from Josh. Deflated Wee will still come home to finish second, and Josh will only gain 7 points on the championship lead. Wee still leads the championship by 5 points tonight. As spinning around the final corner comes Smaller Smiley. Just couldn't quite get a podium, but Felix, what a drive. 3rd place. Hats off to Fury. Carrying on those inters, which obviously are absolutely dreadful at this stage in the race, but still gets P5, and that should be celebrated. Zidane, great race. P6 has gone under the radar slightly, but where others have made mistakes, he's kept it clean. He's kept it consistent. Killian, after hurting his front wing and boxing on the opening couple of laps, comes home to recover in 7th. That's pretty good. TD, again, a strong performance. Carito has had issues this race and will take some points for the Red Bull team. Aya finishes in 10th and takes the final point of the race. Asmafrog and Padge, it just hasn't quite been their races in the end, and will still be classified. Hats off to everyone, though, who finished the race in these very difficult conditions. Thank you, TJ. So, driver of the day, almost certainly going to Josh. Ordinarily, it would go to maybe Deflated for leading 27 laps of this Grand Prix, but in the end, the strategy call was the perfect one for Josh. I've just aged 117 years. Oh, we've had a cracking time in chat tonight. If you're rewatching this race, you've missed out on a really fun stream to be a part of. Killian takes the fastest lap in what I can only assume is the dry conditions on a 39.8. And I was going to check something. Yes, Felix. Is that his first podium? I don't think it is, but it might be. You know what? It is. This is Felix's first podium in 15 IRL races. So congratulations, Felix. First podium, well deserved, and beating a race winner from this week already, Smaller Smiley. Let's scroll down then. Smiley, Fury, again, kudos for his pace tonight. It's been absolutely fantastic. Zidane, Killian, TD, Carito, Aya taking home points here tonight. Asma, Padge and Greg, all classified runners. 1010 was disqualified from the session for accidentally blocking the pit entry on his way into the pits. He managed to get the DNF in there before the DSQ, and Longson just called it quits earlier on in the Grand Prix. Oh, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been the longest race on the calendar. We've had some ace monkey come into the race and ruin things for us, which caused a bit of a 20-minute delay. But chat, you guys have been absolutely awesome. You kept me going. You made me laugh. Thank you so much to everyone for the support. Oh, hope you enjoyed your beer, Johnny B. I tried being Norris in Russia, wasn't fun. Oh dear. Joseph Hales went to the F1 museum or something and saw the wet tyres that Lando used. It's quite funny. R.I.P. Smithy. 1999 to 2023. You pulled a muscle in your left hand on lap 23. Wow. Well, that's even more impressive that you drove that in the wet conditions that quickly. You needed those wet tires. Oh. Right, chat, before we go, let's do a raid, shall we? You're in great spirits tonight, and I believe a different streamer needs your kind of energy tonight.